we were regaled by my mother with stories of the Depression. You know, she wouldn't let us throw anything out. Because you never know, you might have to use something. You know, instead of baking bags, oh, you can use that to polish your shoes, catch the tires or something. I don't know, you say all that stuff, I never know why. She always said during the Depression, you would say all that. She told me one story that I never forgot about the Depression. It was actually a little joke. But it was pretty risque for my mother. She said there was a rooming house. And the lady that ran the rooming house was always trying to save a nickel here, or a dime there, or a penny there. And one day she put up a little sign in the bathroom next to the toilet paper. Why take 4 when 3 will do? So, you know, that was in the beginning of the Depression. Things started getting a little worse and times got harder. And so she changed the sign one day. Why take 3 when 2 will do? And things got worse, and got just more people out of work. She's trying to do everything she can to save for money to keep the rooming house going. And she finally put up a sign that said, why take 2 when 1 will do? So one day, one of the roomers who was staying there wrote a little sign on the wall. So what the hell is par for this day of hole anyway? So when I was about 10 years old, she told me that story. That was pretty shocking, you know, like hells and dams in there. Mom was always very careful about everything and never throwing anything out. That's why we were able to come up with some of these old pictures of my dad's very first Christmas card that he sent her in 1935. That was part of the slideshow presentation. It's still running on the computer back there if you want to see it. And I don't know if the girls from Marygrove noticed the registration form and the report card from Marygrove in 1929 or something. She got pretty good grades back then, didn't she? All A's, but she got a B in English. We do have some other little presentations that we'll be talking about. Judy, you want to go next? My sister Judy's got a little advice here for us all.
Well, I thought we might want to know how to live to be 100. So I have a little bit of information on that. In this toast, I will not be giving advice about things of interest to science or researchers, such as genes, safe drinking water, vaccinations, controlling stress and cholesterol, defensive driving, or regular exercise. No, instead, it is such an unusual achievement to be 100 that I'm going to present some of the character traits that my mother, Julie, is giving to Cotter, and how she did it, and never mind the above. Love unconditionally. Each of my siblings can attest to being treated to her unconditional love throughout our lives. We certainly stress tested this boon often and thoroughly. One example would be my own teenage belief that I had been born to the wrong family in my efforts to prove it. Rebellious teen would not sufficiently describe me. However, immediately after my marriage, I changed my attitude and found my mother to be a wonderful friend. No questions asked. She babysat my children innumerable times, made Sunday dinners for my family very frequently, put up with much taking for granted on my part, and throughout expressed her love for us verbally and by her actions. Her love and thoughtfulness frequently causes her to do something else for all of her family. She'll clip out articles from magazines and newspapers, always with life-changing advice, just perfect for us imperfect family members to read and take to heart. Another character trait that could take you to 100 years. Be a thrifty citizen, even a cheap one, but have fun while doing it. She could recycle the ribbons from funeral bouquets to make pretty Easter bonnets for her kindergartners. Get brown paper bags turned into authentic fringe Indian vests at Thanksgiving time. Remember that, speaking to cousins? Yeah. Also under this category would be her tireless urge to clip and stake coupons made up of her lifetime. From her college roommates and classmates, to her friends through marriage, to her teacher friends, neighbors, and large family, she has kept in touch through thick and thin. And just to be her quirky self, she records all information in pen. Or don't sweat the details. Keep your plants watered, your bridge game sharp, your card and letter list up to date, and let the experts, or your own grown children, take care of everything else. Next, be curious about the world and be a reader. My mom keeps up with the news, current events, and the latest mile of gossip. If she starts a book, she must finish it, preferably in 1 or 2 sittings. Finally, one last outstanding characteristic that might help you reach your 100th birthday. Feel guilty! Probably instilled by her Catholic school education from Victorian era nuns. My mom will cherish a feeling of guilt about any slightest perceived mistake or omission that she made or imagined she made. Gosh, that is a hard one to shake. But not to worry, Mom. Your place in heaven is assured already. God loves you, and we do too. Thank you all.
So I'm going to work with you now. My niece Jill has been working on a little project and wants to share with us what here today. So you got the mic.
I'm not a public speaker, so those of you that know me pretty well know I'm pretty fast, so I'll try to talk slowly.
You're not public, it's all friends and family.
A few months ago, I was shopping right before Christmas with some ladies, and we were talking about my grandmother. And in this conversation, I got the idea to write my grandmother's memoirs because I realized at 100 years old, there's not much I know about my grandmother outside of the dinners, babysitting, and the family gossip. How much do we know of my grandmother when she was in college, when she was a child? And so I've been on the phone with her almost every day for the last month with her cooperation, getting all kinds of fascinating information that I never knew about my grandmother. So all I'd like to do right now is read a very short dedication to you, and then let you know that I have 50 copies of Julia. First mistake, it's not an autobiography. It's a biography. This was done in months, and there will be some mistakes, so I would welcome any kind of editing from you all, corrections, and it's a work in progress. Because it was done in such a short time, we couldn't get everything in. I have pages and pages of notes, and there's lots of stuff Grandma wanted to include that we had to leave out. But and my email is on the back, so PDF files. I only have 50 copies, like I said, so I will be able to send copies of this to anyone who wants one, as well as we will be doing other editions. And all I would like to share with you right now is my dedication to my grandmother. For my grandmother, who has been the inspiration and example of how to live a rich, rewarding, and exciting life no matter what university. Thank you.
All right, there were 3 guys crossing the country. There was a rabbi, a Hindu, and a complainer. And one night, their car broke down out in the middle of the country. And so, oh, come on, it's not that bad. They came up to a farmer. They walked up to the local farmhouse, and they asked the farmer if they could stay the night because it was getting late and the car was broken down. The farmer said, sure, but I've only got 2 beds, so one of you fellows is going to have to sleep in the barn. So the rabbi said, well, I'll sleep in the barn, don't worry. So they all settled down for the night. The rabbi was out in the barn. About 20 minutes later, there's a knock on the door of the house, and it's the rabbi. And he says, I can't, no, that's not what he said at all. He said, you know, I'm Jewish, and there's a pig in the barn. And in my religion, a pig is an unclean animal, and I can't sleep with a pig. And I wonder if one of you fellows would mind sleeping in the barn. So the Hindu said, oh, sure, I'll sleep in the barn. So the Hindu went out to sleep in the barn until I settled down. About 20 minutes later, there's a knock on the door. And it's the Hindu. And he says, you know, there's a cow in the barn. In my religion, a cow is a sacred animal. It just wouldn't be right for me to sleep in the barn with a cow. I wonder if I could sleep in the house. So the complainer said, oh, all right. I will sleep in the barn. You know, you guys just can't put up with it. I'll sleep in the barn. Don't worry about me. It'll just be I'll be out in the barn with the animals. And so finally he wanders off, sleeps in the barn. About 20 minutes later, there's a knock on the door. And it's the cow and the pig. So anyway, the moral of that story is don't be a complainer. And that's what I must say about my mom. She's had a lot to complain about, but she doesn't complain about things. Her favorite expression is always, well, it was nice. No matter how bad it was. She always says, it was nice. And I think that's how you get to 100 years old. You know, if you complain about things all the time, you're going to get old a lot faster. You got to show me a lot of a certain number of complaints in life. The rest of us are going to have to run out of soup. Mom, you done a great job. I think my niece Dina has a little something at this point.
I just have a couple of facts from the year that you were born that might be interesting to hear. The first one is Robert Peary made his way to the North Pole. Life expectancy in women in that year, believe it or not, was 47 years old, which is how old I am. The average salary was $12.98 a week. They started construction on the Titanic. Joan of Arc was declared a saint by the Pope in Rome. Model Ts were rolling off of the assembly plants. And the first female drove across the United States with 3 other women in her car. And a couple famous people, Benny Goodman, Katharine Hepburn, Walt Disney, Clark Gable, and the most precious person to us, his grandma, was born in 1909. And I also got a couple of songs that were popular the year you were born, the year you graduated, and the year you got married, and I was able to find them and have them recorded and shared with everyone this afternoon after Uncle Dennis finished with his speech. But the most popular songs for 1909 were Meet Me Tonight in Dreamland, and Wonder Who's Kissing Her Now, and By the Light of the Silver Moon. So, and the 3 after that are when you graduated, and the 3 songs after that are when you got married. So that'll be fun to hear in the background while everybody's mingling and after we sing Happy Birthday. Okay.
Good job.
I got kind of a list of things like that too. These are things that if you had said them in 1909, all you would have gotten in return would be a blank stare. And some of these you're going to understand, and some of them might be a little bit of a surprise. If you said astronaut, people would not mention, wouldn't register anything at all. Airline, Prohibition, World War I, Depression, Babe Ruth, talkies, microwave, television, radio station, stereo, fiberglass, power steering, Technicolor, USSR, John F. Kennedy, airport, atomic bomb, Detroit Lions. Laundromat, nylon, parachute, Charles Lindbergh, ballpoint pen, Iron Curtain, the state of Arizona, the state of New Mexico, and a little song that wasn't around in 1909. It was called Happy Birthday. That was first published in 1912. And I think we ought to sing that. And are we going to cut the cake?
Yeah, we're going to start in front of the cake, and then several uncut, and then we cut.
All right, and then we'll sing Happy Birthday, which is younger than mine. Before I surrender the microphone here, there's going to be a little afterglow after the party. Now, we've got the place for another couple hours, so we can have a good time. Afterward, we're going out to my mom's. She's invited us out to her place out there. And it's an open mind. Anybody who wants to come is very welcome. You don't have to if you don't want to. If you want to see the luxury that she lives in out there, we're going to have a little party at the party room. Got directions up here for anybody who needs driving directions to get out there. And hope you have a good time here for the rest of the afternoon. And thank you all again.